Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Ikechukwu, who presented his scorecard alongside his Interior counterpart, Dr. Olubunmi Tunjiojo, admitted that though there was delay in appointing Nigeria's heads of missions abroad, it had not affected implementation of the country's foreign policies. The minister listed efforts made by his ministry in repositioning Nigeria globally, increasing national pride and respect for citizens, the boosting confidence in Nigerian passport, achieving economic diplomacy, and breaking barriers for Nigerian businesses. In his presentation, the Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunjiojo, announced plans to recruit an additional 10,000 agro-rangers to enhance farmer security across the country, following a series of violent attacks on agricultural communities. Tunjiojo highlighted government's commitment to improving internal security, noting that over the past year, 10,000 officers from Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, were trained as agro-rangers to protect agricultural lands. Acknowledging ongoing security challenges, the minister expressed confidence in government's progress and dedication to safeguarding farmers. Joining us now is Professor Okey Ikechukwu, a strategic management and human capital development expert. Good morning, Professor Ikechukwu, and thank you so much for Ikechukwu for joining us today on the morning show. As we review yesterday's ministerial report, as taken live on Arise yesterday, where we had the opportunity to listen to a few of the ministers give a scorecard so far on the activities in office.
Well, Professor Ikechukwu, thank you for joining us. Now, very quickly, two major things yesterday. Minister Olubunmi Ojo, Minister of Interior, was saying that President Tinubu has made life better for Nigerians in terms of issuance of passports, border control, and also, internal security. Do you agree with him? And then Minister Yusuf Tuga, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, says Nigeria now has a good image in the world, and economic diplomacy is working very well, and that we've been able to attract a lot of investment, and we've been able to sign MOUs with about 10 countries, and that we're doing well diplomatically in terms of repositioning Nigeria as a major player in the global space. Do you also agree with him? Are we better off than we were previously?
May I move from what I met in the studio to the questions?
Excuse me?
Please.
You said?
I said, may I move from what I met in the station, the fireworks? May I move from the fireworks I met in the station to the issue you just raised?
Okay, you want to comment on Rivers?
I will take it up.
Okay.
Oh, yes, because I saw the conversation, and I noted that you referred to subsection 3D of section 305, which spoke of the possibility of danger. Yeah. I also threat of danger. I also noted that that was a strong area of emphasis by imminent threat of danger, and that was also the emphasis. Rufai was asking, look, did you see people dying in the streets? Let me take the context from where you raised it, Ruben. Now, the governor was not allowed to meet up with the State Assembly. Everything on the table. Today, we can say, okay, the explosion was not done by this person or that person, but the issue is this. Where you have that kind of volatile situation, forget the parties. Is there a possibility of opportunistic criminality? The answer is yes. While that place was locked up, maybe supposing I'm the governor, there might be a supporter of mine, not on my instruction, or I'm a supporter of the speaker. Not on my instruction, I go to begin to do some things. So at the time that we had of that explosion, whether contrived or not, there is the clear perception of the possibility of further deterioration of law and order. The parties, the contending two parties, were maintaining very extreme positions. Very extreme. So it's not a question of taking side with the governor or those who are against him. What was on the table at that moment is not something nobody was about to give grounds. Okay, well, yes, he wrote letters. So I thought I should put that on the table. Now, on the matter of fusion or no fusion of powers, this whole intervention I'm making now is for reflection. We are probably the only federation one of the very few in the country where it is the center that creates the federating units. The true concept of federalism is that we agree to federate and cede powers. That was the original template. So it is if we're going to also talk about that, we have to look holistically at what I call the porridge of the Nigerian conundrum in terms of presidential listing, the kind of federation we are running. Then finally on this, the politics is untidy. We know both sides have taken all kinds of things. There's also the perception of one-sidedness. But looking at the whole picture as it is, talking about the declaration, you recall, Ruben and Rufai, that you had the 1989 publication of the Congress of the US. And the title of it, or the section, is Inherent Powers of the Presidency. You know, so you find that a federation, a nation, a community, a town or village will have its governance structures, perfectly legitimate. Will have people with responsibility, legitimate. Will have separation of powers. But there are moments you ask yourself, in what does the need to take decisions in here? It would be in the person occupying the office using the Constitution. But then in situations where you don't have the ability to put all of that together to arrive at a position, the inherent power of decision-making rests on somebody. And where issues are involved, it rests on the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. But those, like I say, these are things intended, because just to induce reflection and make all of us with extreme positions to say, okay, maybe I should have looked at it like this. Because as we speak now, all the gladiators in Rivers State are biting their fingers. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have done this. Maybe we could. All their cars are withdrawn. The biganism has declined. Sobriety has come in. All right, so Professor, I thought I should throw that
Professor
in. Professor
Ikechukwu, yes, before you respond to the main questions, I think we have a sound on tape of what Minister Tuga and Minister Tunji Ojo said. We'll play that, and then we'll come back to you.
Nigeria also always puts forward moral precepts and ethical considerations in the implementation of its foreign policy. And that's why you see us, for instance, voting along with other countries in favor of Ukraine in the United Nations. But at the same time, you also see us standing with Palestine, with Gaza. And even when we do that, it's okay for a country like South Africa, because of its history, because of what it's been through, to be the ones to take Israel to court, the International Court of Justice. But what Nigeria is doing, because of those moral precepts and ethical considerations, is so much also behind the scenes. So people don't know that it was Nigeria that was negotiating the exit of babies, of infants from Gaza to neighboring countries, to Jordan, to Egypt, to United Arab Emirates, so that they will be able to be treated. They can get the treatment that they could not get in Gaza. When we talk about Brazil, we talk about JBS that visited about 2 weeks ago. They're the largest players in terms of livestock in the world. They slaughter something like 80 million chicken a day from all over the world, 20-something million cows all over. They have decided they're coming to invest. And this is following in the footsteps of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's visit to Brazil. They are not only going to invest in livestock, but also the feed, so soybeans. Brazil is right up there when it comes to that.
And the Command and Control Center, it will also interest you that within what we call the Batik Center that was commissioned by Mr. President in December, Immigration Service was established in 1964. That makes it about 60 years old, almost 61 years old. There was nothing, we'd never had a data center. Imagine an agency that deals with data of Nigerians without a data center of its own, relying on third parties. We started, and what this government has been able to build, it's arguably one of the biggest data centers in Nigeria. We started by proposing a 1.4 petabyte. What did we have now? We have an 8.3 petabyte data center. That is one of the biggest you can get anywhere in Africa. Over 3,000 within the last 6 months of last year of our inmates were rehabilitated. When I talk about rehabilitated, I mean inmates, because when you go to a correctional center, the name changed from prisons to correctional, because to us, the prison is a place of incarceration. But a correctional center is a place of correction, is a place of reformation, is a place of transformation. So in line with that, what have we been able to do? In the last 3 months, in the last 6 months of last year, we were able to train and empower over 3,000 of our inmates, so that once they go out of correctional centers, they will have something meaningful to do, and it will reduce the rate of recidivism. And also, let me say this before I leave correctional center, that last year we decongested our correctional center by...
Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Our guest is still Professor Okey Ikechukwu, the Strategic Management and Human Capital Development expert. Well, Professor Ikechukwu, now let's, after that reflection and this sound on tape that we have played, now to the main issue. Your reflections on what the two ministers said.
Yeah. First of all, the two ministers are given an account of performance. And it's become a tradition, I guess, that people holding public office at intervals under the, if you like, imprimatur of the Minister of Information, who is responsible for national communication, they come to give an account or an explanation to Nigerians about what they are doing, its impact, possible challenges, and things that could be, made to look it better, for it to be better. The aspect of it, I think, on the table, he spoke about the achievements from the angle in which he spoke. Two things are clear. Number one, a nation is always a work in progress. I'm talking from communication before I move to the things he said. Now, he is coming, they are coming periodically. The first thing I want us to know is the progressive modification of the pattern and structure and credibility of national information exchange, whereby people who have responsibility bring their colleagues. My duty is to inform Nigerians. I might be saying things, but you come and talk to them under a platform I'll provide. That is something that we'll need to maintain. And you recall that Chikelu tried something like that. That's number one. Number two, the minister has raised substantive issues and therefore given Nigerians opportunity to agree, disagree, challenge him, contradict him. You dare to come and tell us you're doing this. Okay, we've heard you, but this is our own perspective on it as well. Like all the issues he's raised, for instance, quite frankly for me, I didn't know about the background work being done in places like Gaza and the rest of it. You see, that kind of information has a kind of reassuring effect on even the most strongest critics. But also, the briefing gives the opportunity to opposition to access information with which they can do their job more effectively. Political opposition is not the same as enmity. It's the job of keeping the government on the table such that any wrong step it makes is not allowed to get away with it. So with what he has said, if there are flaws, if there are untruths, if there are unclarified areas, it's the job of the opposition to now pick specifically on them. It's also the job of the opposition to look at it. If there are policies involved, opposition evaluates the policy in this report he has given, if any, and say, no, this policy could have been like this. It's all in the process of giving us a better polity. So the thing in itself is proper, and that's a business our government ought to do. Now on the specifics, he's enumerated the gains, if you like. I believe he should also have mentioned some of the challenges, such that if there are challenges he has seen and is not dealing with properly or doesn't know how to deal with, there could be contributions in that regard. If Nigeria is playing all those roles, and many of them backed up by moral concern about the lives of people in those areas beyond the political issues that are visible to all, that is a positive. But we need also to know about the challenges, because when you have briefings and you have only the positives, it provides opportunity for, there must be challenges. If we share those, if those challenges are shared, we feel more involved. But the very fact of a briefing in detail and with facts that can be verified, I think is the right thing to do.
Well, on that note, we'd like to thank you very much, Professor Okey Ikechukwu, for joining us on the morning show.